it's hard. When they're that close, it's really tricky. Mona, I do believe, belongs in a solid tier 1.5 now. I don't think she's like absolutely cracked or anything, but I like Mona quite a bit as a support. It used to be that supports carried DPSs. Nowadays, there's DPSs that are so good that they can kind of carry supports, because of support, even if they don't have the craziest buffing in the world, if a DPS has tons of multipliers and good that can take advantage of it, that really makes a difference. So Mualani, Arlecchino, Chlorant have high enough multipliers that they can take advantage of what Mona can bring to the table, and I think it makes Mona like quite a bit better of a character personally. I think some people might still disagree with this placement, because it's not like she's best in slot with Mualani, best in slot with Arlecchino, best in slot with, you know, Chlorant or Navia or whatever, but I think that especially if you consider C1 Mona, which I do consider to be very achievable for anyone now that we have the 5-star selector guaranteed for every single year. I think C1 is very realistic. I think the amount that she has synergized with Mualani and Arlecchino, who are two of the best DPSs in the game, I think warrant this placement. Not any higher for sure. Maybe I'm overrating her a little bit, but that's where I think she goes. She feels strong. Very similarly, Candace is feeling better and better. Not only, again, does she work really well with Arlecchino, with Arlecchino, but she works really, really well with Mualani. And now with Xilonen, Candace can also utilize the Archaic Petra artifact set. And so in addition to the normal attack bonus, she also buffs hydro damage. I don't know, I wouldn't really say one of them is better than the other. I like them both quite a bit. I think technically Candace has higher potential, especially with Mualani, so I'm going to put her a bit higher, and that's pretty sick. But a really awful unit who only had a niche use with Nilou at C6 now has a great use even at C0 with Mualani, and then at C6 with Arlecchino too. So hog for Candace, very good. I'm going to move Dea up a little bit just because she has great synergy, like not great synergy, but solid synergy with Mualani and Kinich and Linny and Arlecchino and Novelette. It's not the best in slot, but I'm just going to move her up just because I find her so comfy and such a nice pull, just like a nice unit to have. But yeah, not enough to bring her up an entire tier or anything. She's not absolutely indispensable, but I think if her interruption resistance lasted longer, I really would put her in tier 1.5, or if she actually healed your active character, so she could synergize with Farina or something. There's like a few things that would make Dea higher, but I think as she is, she's one of the few sources of off-field power application, which is just so important for Mualani, and it's good decent synergy with Arlecchino. It's good, she's decent synergy with Chlorant, with Kinich, with Novelette. That's like a lot of really high value characters and Linny that can use Dea. So yeah, I think Dea is solid. Now for some demotions, I'm going to demote Venti down to tier 2. I just feel like it's getting worse and worse with Venti. It's just kind of like, what, unless you, like, we're talking power rankings, right? So is it useful for Imaginarium Theater? Sure. Is it useful for some floor 11? Sure. You don't even have to play floor 9 and 10 anymore. So he's not good for like lower floors of the Abyss anymore. You don't even really want to use him in a lot of domains anymore. I feel like there's almost no reason to get Venti. I almost feel like Genshin needs to like remake Venti as like, I don't know if they just scrap the old character, or if they buff him, or if they make a new version of Venti. Like sometimes gacha games do that. They make a new version of a character. I feel like they got to do that with him. He's just not it anymore. I would never recommend someone pull Venti. For pull value, he's like even worse. But for power, I'm not sure. Like he still has Viridescent Venerer. He still has great grouping. It's just, I don't know. I would never recommend someone get a Venti, and I don't think that he's very valuable to an account. So sorry to Venti lovers, but I think he's just getting worse and worse. I might even put him lower than this. I don't know. I think he's worse than Dea. I'd love to hear a counter argument, but I just don't think so. I'm going to demote Sigewinne. I know I am a Sigewinne stan, apparently. Like, I called people out for underrating her. I'm basically, you'll see, she's not the only casualty that I'm demoting for this reason, and you'll know what I mean when I say it, but I think with Xilonen, the standard for healers has risen. You only need 2 healers on your account, essentially. You know, one for either side, and you're also competing against shielders, you know, and I just think that the amount of teams that she works on is just very low. So I think any team that she could have worked on, like basically her best team was Mono Hydro, and now Xilonen is way better on Mono Hydro. So Sigewinne she lost her only niche. She lost her only niche basically. So that's why I'm putting her down. Not putting her down, I'm moving her down. Yeah. Yanfei. I think that I just sort of underrated Yanfei because I was testing her with Xilonen, and then I went back to just Farina, Yelan, Bennett, and I was just like, this team kind of cracked. Yanfei is kind of good. She vapes in AoE, and I love Farina, Yelan, Bennett with Yanfei as the DPS. I think it's really strong, and the fact that she has a shield, you can't always use it. Like sometimes you don't have enough ER, but yeah, she works great. The Mari, she's a Hunter artifact set on Farina teams. She vapes in AoE. She has solid personal numbers. Especially, I raised her normal to level 9 and fully ascended her, and she just does like really good damage, and she's very comfy. She's like Yoimiya, but she does damage she does similar single target damage, like worse, but similar single target, especially since both of their multipliers aren't like the peak, so they rely on Farina and Yelan to also do a lot of damage. But Yanfei has built-in interruption resistance with her shield, and she can vape in AoE. So overall, I think she's just quite a bit better than Yoimiya, and that puts her in tier 1.5 to me. Next promotion is Noelle. She is a lot better than she was. I think Noelle was like pretty solid before, and with Xilonen, the team actually sings. It actually feels complete. She does good damage. She synergizes with the rest of the team. It's awesome, and she's very comfy. Ito, same thing. Much better. I don't think it's like a total game changer where he's like one of the good DPSs or like the great DPSs, whatever you want to call these guys. But I do think that he's out of the basement with this team. The team does good damage. It's very similar to, you know, the damage that the Raiden version does. I really don't hate myself playing Ito team anymore. It's just more damage. I don't know what to say. You have much stronger sub DPSs. It's great. I think I'm just gonna slightly adjust things. I think I'm not gonna like change a ton of these characters tier placements, but I'm just gonna adjust where in the tier I think different characters go. I think some characters just got like little demotions or little adjustments, and it's not too big of a deal as to where the characters are to me in a tier as much as it is what tier they're in, but there's some I feel like a little bit lower, like Kirara and Yao Yao. I feel like there's less and less reasons to use them and use Aggravate. They're still good in Nilou, they're still good in Aggravate, there's some other stuff, but I feel like, you know, they're going down in value a bit. I feel like Cryo is going down, Ido is going down, Chiori is going down, trending down, Yai's trending down a little bit. It's not like it's like a whole major shift where they're terrible now. It's just not as good as they were. You know, I think the plunge teams are really good. I think Jean, you know, is trending down a little bit, but it's not like a crazy amount. And now let's do some more promotions. We're gonna promote Sucrose up to tier 1. I think one of the teams that I underrated was Animo teams with Mulanni. If you don't use Shalonen's burst, you can save some Hydro Aura, and that allows you to get a swirl. I was kind of just tunnel visioned on always using Shalonen's skill and burst, but if you want to maximize damage, you can do Mulanni, Sucrose, Shalonen, Xiangling, and then you can just do your skill with Shalonen and then swirl with Sucrose and then not burst the Shalonen, or you can burst after. That way you get a crystallize and then you get the swirl as well, and then that allows you to get more VV uptime and you get double VV plus the EM sharing from Sucrose is very valuable. So Sucrose moves up. I also think that Sucrose Arlecchino is quite good. So yeah, I think Sucrose deserves to move up. If you want to move her all the way up to here, I also would be down. I could preemptively do this, but I think I'm just gonna leave her here for now. To me, this is like one placement off, right? All of these DPSs to me are in the same placement. That's how I feel. I'm gonna demote Kokomi. I feel like now you just pull Kokomi for like just for Nilou. Like if you want to run mono hydro, now it's just Shalonen is just so much better. So I feel like I've always felt that Kokomi was a bit lower on the pull value, and now we have a healer that heals more from off field and just does a lot more. She just does a frankly absurd amount. Kokomi's value contribution to the team is just so much lower, and I do feel like it is 2 tiers lower, right? Not 1 tier lower, because I feel just adding a bit of hydro application AoE isn't enough utility anymore, especially since teams just need more than that these days. That's all. Similarly, Baiju, I still think Baiju is a good character, but not a tier 1 character. I don't think. I think he adds more than Kokomi does. I think I'm gonna leave him at the top of tier 1.5. But yeah, just the standard for healers. I feel like Shen-Yun and Chevreuse are tier 1 healers, which with the amount of what they provide, and I think that Bennett and Shalonen are tier 0 healers in what they provide. Tier 0 healers provide so much that they could not provide healing and basically be in the same place on the tier list. Like, yeah, obviously it's fantastic that Bennett heals and it makes him so much better, but like he would still be tier 0. Maybe he would be tier 1 if he wasn't a healer, but pretty much tier 0. And same with Shalonen. They would still be incredible characters if they didn't heal. And I feel like if Baiju and Kokomi didn't heal, they would just be terrible, frankly. If Shen-Yun didn't heal, she would be not that great, but still have some use. And Chevreuse, if she didn't heal, she would still be great. So that's kind of how, like, that's one way that I judge healers. So I'm pretty confident in this new placement. Yeah, I'm thinking I'm gonna move Jean a little bit up, because I feel like she still does a little bit more, especially since C2 Jean is a little bit more achievable. But yeah, I'm gonna move Xingqiu down. I feel like Xingqiu is still really good, but so often nowadays the personal damage from Yelan and the buffing is so much more impactful. There's better buffers to give Yelan more damage,